Hi, and welcome to Across the Desk. Well, it's election week, and it's pretty much all week, as we have early voting and then the main election on Tuesday, and then we'll be counting ballots after that. So please, get out and vote. It's really that important. Turnout is what's going to win races, especially in a midterm. And this one's as hot as any other. And that's what we're going to discuss this week here in Across the Desk, as it is election week for the United States of America. So here we are, another election season. We have them every 2 years, if not sooner, if they do some kind of special election, like we're going to have in March for legalizing marijuana on the ballot with State Question 820. Anyway, right now we're going to vote on a lot of statewide races, governor, lieutenant governor, U.S. Senate, both seats, all of the U.S. House seats, which comes up every 2 years. And others. We have state superintendent, that's a statewide job, state treasurer, statewide job, labor commission, statewide. These are all statewide elected posts. So this year is kind of an important year, as they all are. Every election is very important, and you'll hear me along with everybody else telling you that it is, because it is. Everyone is important. It is always important to put your voice out there because it lets everybody know where you stand and where everybody else stands. It also gives a very clear picture of where we're at as a nation, as a country, as a state, as a county, or as a municipality. It really does. It gives key indicators of who we are and what we want. That's why it's important to show up, regardless of what's going on today. Because I see it everywhere. You have the total negative political ads that come out, and the mailers talking about socialism and eating babies and stuff like that. Yeah, I believe there was one woman somewhere who said actually that Democrats are drinking the blood of babies. That's what they do. That's actually said that. And I get it. And there's been a lot of political violence. And from the right. Of course, they want to come out and say, well, the left does it too. But when you looked at the statistics when it comes to political violence, you see 96% are pretty much done by Republicans and 4% by liberals. So yeah, there's liberals out there who are being politically violent. It's just a really small percentage. And when compared to conservatives, it's a very small one. As you can see, these two incidents just happened in one day. That doesn't include what happened the day before with Nancy Pelosi's husband, or any of the other political violence related to elections that you're seeing, like the intimidation in Arizona. Because believe me, when you got guys standing there in bulletproof vests with high power rifles, that's intimidating. It's meant to be intimidating. And the judge in the order who said, hey, you can do the poll watching, but you can't do it with firearms or bulletproof vest closer than 250 feet. Even admitted to that. Yeah, you got the right, the First Amendment right to poll watch, but you don't have the right to film people. You don't have the right to follow them. You don't have the right to question them, and you definitely don't have the right to intimidate them with firearms. But that's what they're doing. It's exactly what conservatives are doing this time around. Things that we said, this will never happen. If we ever saw this, the police, the FBI, everybody else would come and stop it. But they can't, and they haven't, because then what happens is you have a whole bunch of judges that have been put in by Heritage Foundation people, or whatever that Liberty group is, that are a very conservative think tank that gives them all the judges that they're going to assign. That's exactly what this is. So we have a judge who's assigned by Trump who said, hey man, these guys get to poll watch, unabated. And then they had to come back a couple of days later and go, okay, let me change this order. Okay, they can't be with firearms closer than 250 feet. Or bulletproof vest. And they can't walk behind them to their car or engage with them in conversation unless they are engaged with first. Which people got to remember stuff like that. But anyway, that's what we have in this election cycle. People are going to be intimidated. They have a whole bunch of people talking about how to poll watch, how to challenge voters at the polls. They have a whole deal. The Republicans do. They have a whole group of people who are training people to challenge voters when they go vote. Yes, even if they're legitimate, they don't care. Because it's not about legitimate voters. It's not about that. It's about them winning the election at all cost. Republic be damned. Because that's exactly it. the republic be damned. Because as long as there's a chance that a Democrat or someone who has the political ideology of liberal can win a seat, well, that's just not the America they want. Because just like James Lankford says, just like Mo Brooks has said, the power of the United States government is ordained to be vested in conservatives' hands. It's basically what he said. It is the ordained right of conservatives to control the destiny of the USA. I believe that's exactly what Mo Brooks said. This is exactly what people like Ryan Walters and James Lankford believe. They truly believe this national Christian way. This is what they believe. This is what they want to change our history to believe. All the founders were Christians. They weren't. But that's what they want you to believe. And that's what they want everybody to say. It's the emperor wears no clothes, but with real consequences. So you have to vote. This is an important vote. Because I get it. They've been hammering us on the economy. It's kind of raw right now in some areas. The inflation thing. But unemployment is low. Everybody's working. Everybody has a job. And one of the reasons the economy is so overheated is because of the demand. There's so much demand out there that it can't keep up. So because of that, prices go up. And that's what we have right now in the economy. And it's not just here in the United States, it's worldwide. And actually, whenever you look at other countries, the United States has really done a good job of mitigating inflation here. It's still high, it's gone up, but not as gross as it has in other places. And besides, this is a global issue. Because believe me, if Republicans win come November 8th on Tuesday, we're still going to have inflation. What we're not going to have are freedoms for our women to cross state lines that may be pregnant. What we're not going to have is freedom for LGBTQ youth to have counseling, to have groups that they may be able to find like-minded people with and have a social movement with so that they're not depressed and kill themselves like conservatives want them to do. We're going to have things like that. We're going to have 10-year-old rape victims who are not going to be allowed to have an abortion. That could kill a 10-year-old who's not a grown adult by any standards. This could wreck a child. Not only that, if you have a pregnancy that's not going to be viable, they will force you to give birth to a dead baby. They will. No matter how painful it is for the woman, or may cause septic and kill them. Doesn't matter to them. It's all about that ideological, perfect world that they've created for themselves that doesn't exist in any reality. So you have to vote. I'm telling you, your vote really matters. It really does. That's why you have to go do it. And I know sometimes it can be intimidating to go vote. And especially when people are out there saying, I'm going to intimidate you when you go vote. That's really intimidating. But there's some things we can do to fight back. There's some numbers we can call and procedures to follow if you are intimidated at the polls. You should go to a poll worker, for one thing. You should at least, if it gets too out of hand, call the police, call the FBI, call the voter hotline that's here on the screen. We can't let people do that. We can't let people intimidate other free American citizens when it comes to their constitutional rights and protections of law when it comes to voting. We can't allow that. We have to. We have to go vote, and we have to handle these people and hold them to account when they try to intimidate us at the polls. There's going to be some of it. It's not going to be everywhere, but we're probably going to see a lot more of it this time around than we ever have. Because conservatives are scared. They're always scared, but this particular time they're really scared. They really are, and they don't want to, and you see it. They even say if they don't win, it's because they cheated, and we're not going to accept the results this time. You saw it. They didn't accept the results last time. And then when it came out, well, it's because Democrats don't accept the results. But you know what Democrats don't do? Democrats don't carry guns around polling places looking for people to vote illegally. Democrats go through the process that's outlined in law to go through the court system, to go through whatever systems they are legally allowed to do to protest an election. But once that's done, every Democrat, every one of them has conceded. Every one of them has agreed to the law. You know who hasn't? Republicans. They absolutely haven't. And they say this time that they won't. So there you go. Voting. Man, it's so important. And we're going to do it this week. It's going on right now, all week long. Early voting. And in-person voting. And mail voting has been going on for a while. So it's important, it really is, to get out there and do it. Find you 2 friends to go with. They say that too. You want to win? You want to win elections? Grab your 2 friends to go with you. Carpool 3, go to the voting place and vote. That's a good idea. Go with some friends. Make sure you all vote. That's a great way to get a turnout. And that's what it's about. Turnout. Because I tell you, if we can turn out Democrats to the polls, we're going to win. And we really don't need 99% of us to do it. But I guarantee you, if 99% of Democrats showed up and voted, just the ones who are registered to vote, this isn't anybody who isn't registered, same-day voting stuff. This is people who are already registered. If Democrats showed up, just 65% of Democrats in Oklahoma showed up. If just 2/3 of the registered Democrats in Oklahoma would show up, we'd win almost every election. Because the highest Republicans have ever gotten anyone to show up is 53%. That's it. 53% of registered Republican voters have shown up to vote. That's their biggest total to date in a few decades, going back as long as they've been keeping records on that for the last couple of decades. Democrat participation is typically a little lower. Imagine that. And really, with the way they've gerrymandered it, we really need to show up. Probably that 65% is going to make us competitive. So you really got to show up, or we lose our democracy. We lose our republic. Just like we have now here in Oklahoma. We have really lost it. And 10 years ago we lost it. And you can see this with Senate District 32 when you think about Nathan Dom's district. That guy was able to walk into his seat every single year. Walked right into it. Never had a challenger because of the gerrymandering. His district is gerrymandered 5 to 8, Democrat, Republican, respectively. Democrats never going to win there because of that. Well, you know what they just did? They gerrymandered even more around Oklahoma. So it's going to be even harder. So this is why we have to show up. Because when we don't show up, we lose our representation. We lose our republic. We lose our democracy. And next thing you know, they start writing laws to harm those people that don't vote the way they do, which is exactly what they intend to do. It's exactly what Rob Standridge intends to do. It's exactly what Kevin Stitt intends to do. And it's exactly what those people in Congress intend to do in the U.S. Congress if they gain power. They have already avowed that they're coming after Democrats. They're coming after them personally. They're coming after them through their businesses. They're coming after whoever it is. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't even have to be high-powered Democrats. Anybody that they deem as a threat to their political jobs, their political anything, they're going to come for. And they're going to use the force of government to do it. They've even said this. Marjorie Taylor Greene said, hey, all you companies that refused to donate to Republicans last round, we're coming for you. Hey, communication companies who said you're going to give our data under a subpoena to the January 6th Commission, we're going to shut you down. That's exactly what they're going to do. That's exactly what we're going to get if you don't vote. If you don't show up and say, somebody else will do it. Because they won't. They will if we all do it. We all have to do this. It's not something somebody else is going to be able to do by themselves. Or a small group's going to be able to do by themselves. We have to show up. It's why your vote matters. It's why it matters now more than ever. Through the intimidation and the fear and the campaigning and the ugliness of the negative ads and everything else you're seeing. It's important to show up. Those very items I said are the very reason why you should. Well, I really hope you go vote this week. I really hope you show up Tuesday or on your early voting dates. This is Across the Desk with Kit Fairchild. We'll see you next week.